As the fight against corruption in Nigeria is waxing stronger, it is believed that all hands will be on deck to strengthen the war. You should also play your part by supporting the efforts of the present administration and the EFCC to say yes to a corrupt-free Nigeria. I have resolved to say yes to a corrupt-free Nigeria. What about you? Good evening and welcome to the first edition of The Eagle in the year 2016. On today's edition of the program, we shall be bringing you a review of all activities within the EFCC in the course of the year 2015. I am your regular host, Aisha Gambari. Thank you for staying tuned to the program. Let's take a short break. We will be back shortly. Don't go away.
EFCC will get you anywhere, anytime.
Welcome back. The year 2015 was a year behind with so many activities for the EFCC. We begin the review of our activities with the Armsgate saga. The Commission arraigned several individuals involved in the alleged $2 billion arms deal. Prominent amongst them were the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dazuki, retired, a former Governor of Sokoto State, Attahiru Bafarawa, and Bashir Yuguda, a former Minister of State for Finance under the former President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Kamil Gabi is standing by with the summary of this report and many other activities that took place in the year on the review. Over to you, Kamilu.
In the year under review, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) arraigned former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, and 4 others before Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf of the Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja, on a 19-count charge bordering on money laundering and criminal breach of trust to the tune of over 13 billion naira. Dasuki, who is the first defendant, is charged alongside Shuaibu Salisu, a former Director of Finance and Administration, Office of the National Security Advisor, Aminu Baba Usa, a former General Manager, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Acacia Holdings Limited, and Reliance Referral Hospital Limited. The accused persons pleaded not guilty to all the charges when they were read to them. After days of being in the EFCC custody, Justice Baba Yusuf granted Colonel Dasuki and the 5 other accused persons bail. In his ruling on the bail application, Justice Baba Yusuf granted each of the accused persons bail in the sum of 250 million naira with one surety in like sum, who must deposit their international passports with the court. The surety must be a top civil servant not below the level of director with evidence of ownership of a property worth 250 million naira. Justice Baba Yusuf also ordered that defendants' counsel must notify the court about their travel arrangements whenever they are leaving the jurisdiction of the court. He, however, ordered the accused persons to be remanded in EFCC custody pending fulfillment of their bail conditions. The case has been adjourned to January 21st and 22nd, 2016 for commencement of trial. Also arraigned were a former Minister of State for Finance, Bashir Yuguda, and 5 others before Justice Peter Afem of the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja, on a 22-count charge bordering on conspiracy, bribery, abuse of office, and criminal breach of trust. Yuguda, who is the first defendant, is charged alongside Sambo Dasuki, a former National Security Advisor, Shuaibu Salisu, a former Director of Finance and Administration, Office of the National Security Advisor, Attahiru Dalhatu Bafarawa, a former Governor of Sokoto State, Sagir Attahiru, Bafarawa's son, and Alhatu Investment Limited. They were also granted bail in the sum of 250 million naira each. Still on prosecutions, Sule Lamido and his sons were arraigned alongside 4 companies where the Lamidos are believed to have interest. The quartet were remanded in prison custody on July 9, 2015 by Justice Evelyn Anyadiki of the Federal High Court, Kano, after they were docked on a 28-count charge of corruption and money laundering brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The companies are Bamaina Holdings Limited, Bamaina Company Nigeria Limited, Bamaina Aluminium Limited, and Speeds International Limited. Lamido is said to have abused his position as governor of Jigawa State between 2007 and 2015 by awarding contracts to companies where he has interest, using his 2 sons, Aminu and Mustafa, as fronts. In one of the counts, they were alleged to have converted an aggregate sum of about 125 million naira paid by Antata and Sawu Limited into the account of Speeds International Limited, domiciled with an old generation bank in Kano. The accused persons, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges, and their trial has since commenced. The travails of the Lamidos began in 2012, when one of his sons, Aminu, was arrested by operatives of the EFCC at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, for failing to declare a sum of 40,000 United States dollars. He was prosecuted and convicted, with 50% of the undeclared sum forfeited to the federal government. But the investigation into the source of the funds led investigators into the closely guarded web of corruption and money laundering involving members of the former First Family of Jigawa State and their cronies. The arraignment of Lamido and his children was not without incident, as an unruly crowd of supporters loyal to the former governor threatened to disrupt the court session. It took reinforcement of the detachment of policemen at the court to maintain order. Another former governor, Ikedio Hakim of Imo State, was also arraigned before Justice Adeni Ademola of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on a 3-count charge of money laundering by the EFCC. It will be recalled that Hakim was arrested by operatives of the EFCC on Tuesday, July 7, 2015. The former governor is being prosecuted, among other things, for making a cash payment to the tune of over $2 million for the purchase of a piece of land at plot number 1098, Cadastral Zone A04, Asokoro District, otherwise known as number 60, Kwame Nkrumah Street, Asokoro, Abuja. His trial is also ongoing, with the first prosecuting witness revealing to the court how Hakim made a cash payment of over $2 million for a landed property. Also docked before Justice Chukwu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, were former governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, and his son, Abdulaziz Nyako, a serving senator. The former governor and his son were docked on a 38-count charge bordering on criminal conspiracy, stealing, abuse of office, and money laundering. The duo were charged alongside one Abubakar Aliyu and Zulkifik Abba. They are alleged to have at various times between 2011 and 2013 used 5 companies: Blue Opal Nigeria Limited, Serore Farms and Extensions Limited, Pagoda Fortunes Limited, Towers Assets Management Limited, and Crust Energy Limited to siphon over 15 billion naira from the Adamawa State coffers. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, also arraigned former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswan, and his finance commissioner, Omodachi Okolobia, before Justice A.R. Muhammad of the Federal High Court sitting in Maitama, Abuja, on a 9-count charge of conspiracy, bribery, abuse of office, and obtaining by false pretense. Suswan, in connivance with Okolobia, allegedly diverted proceeds of the sale of shares owned by the Benue State government and Benue Investment and Property Company Limited for personal use. The offense is punishable under Section 15(3) of the Money Laundering Act 2011 as amended. Also arraigned by the Commission is the former Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Patrick Ziadeke Akpobolokemi, Executive Director, Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, Ekene Nwakuchi, Governor Amachi Iwan, Blocks and Stones Limited, and Alkenzo Logistics Limited, before Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court Lagos, on a 22-count charge of conspiracy, fraudulent conversion, and money laundering. The accused persons are alleged to have fraudulently converted the sum of over 2 billion naira meant for the implementing of the International Ship and Port Security ISPS Code, which NIMASA was the designated implementation agency. The former DG was said to have gotten presidential approval for the release of the said monies through the office of the then National Security Advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan, Sambo Dasuki. For the purpose of executing the ISPS, a committee chaired by Captain Bala was set up by Akbobolo Kemi. Other members of the committee were Captain Waredi Enusuo, Vincent Udoye, Amaki Wan, Captain OBF Ola Dipole, and 2 NPA staff. The committee was mandated to coordinate activities relating to the ISPS in line with international regulations and the scope in Nigeria. Investigation, however, revealed that, upon receiving the money, the committee, instead of executing the project, diverted the entire sum to their personal use, using companies owned by them and their associates to launder the illegal proceeds.
Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching the program, The Eagle. And from our Lagos Zonal Office, Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court in Lagos convicted and sentenced 9 foreigners alongside their vessel MT Asterix for illegal oil bunkering. Kamila Gaby once again brings you this report and other reports on some convictions secured by the Commission in the year 2015. The report.
The convicts, who were first arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC on June 18, 2015, were found guilty on a 4-count charge that bordered on conspiracy and illegal oil bunkering. The convicts include 5 Bangladeshi and 4 Filipinos. They are Axel Joseph Gibo Jabon, MD Zahirul Islam, Wanto Camireno Infantado, Swarin Fernando Alav, Gatila JP Gadayan, Islam Shahinu, Islam Rafiku, Sheikh Shibil Nomani, Roland Jose Comendado, and their vessel MT Asteris. Justice Buba found the 9 persons guilty on a 4-count charge and accordingly convicted and sentenced them to 5 years imprisonment on each of the count. The sentences are to run concurrently. However, Justice Buba gave each of the convicts an option of a 20 million naira fine on the 4 counts. Justice Buba also ordered that the vessel, MT Asteris, and cargo on board be forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. MT Asteris and the crew members were intercepted by Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft during a routine operation in the Nigerian waters on March 28, 2015, with over 3,000 metric tons of crude oil without lawful authority or appropriate license, an offence contrary to Section 1, subsection 19 and 6 of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and punishable under Section 17 of the same Act. Upon interception, captain of the vessel claimed that the vessel was not carrying any product, but further investigation by the Commission revealed that the vessel was carrying petroleum products without relevant documents indicating where the product was lifted and its destination. The EFCC, in June 2015, also arraigned 14 foreigners alleged to be involved in illegal oil bunkering and 3 companies before Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court Lagos on a 4-count charge bordering on conspiracy and illegal dealing in petroleum products. The suspects include 3 Russians, Pakladzian Arthur, Kretov Andrei, Kundich Vasily, 3 Ukrainians, Laguta Alexei, Chepikov Alexandra, Bilos Vitali, 8 Filipinos, Cadavis Gerardo, Baduria Benjamin, Regido Halarian, Naranjo Alan Antero, Patero Christian, Alkaid Joel, Karatiquit Michael Bryan, Ciudad Prudencio, Cabanal Anetisito, Kabuquin Andres, Podutan Eduardo, and 1 Georgian, Agbarian Sagwand. The others are MT Anuket Emerald, Monjasa DMCC, and Glencore Energy UK Limited. The Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft intercepted MT Anuket during a routine patrol within Nigerian waters on March 8, 2015, on suspicion of illegal oil dealing before handing over the vessel and its crew to the EFCC. Investigations by the EFCC revealed that the registered owner of the vessel is Kambe Shipping Limited, and the beneficial owner is Alliance Tankers Incorporated, and that the ship flies Panama flag with IMO number 9393644. Furthermore, it was discovered that Monjasa DMCC of Dubai, UAE, are the charterers of the vessel. Justice Buba also admitted MT Anuket Emerald, a vessel allegedly used for illegal dealing in petroleum products, as exhibit. The judge, alongside the prosecution counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, defense counsel Babajide Koku SAN, and captain of the vessel Park Ladzian Arthur, were at the Nigerian Navy Beecroft to inspect the vessel, where it was admitted as exhibit. During the inspection, Abdullahi Alaya, a senior detective superintendent with the EFCC, testified that MT Anuket Emerald, with the International Maritime Organization IMO number 9393644, was the vessel, and that it had petroleum products on board. The prosecution counsel, Oyedepo, also tendered the cargo on board the vessel and the logbook, which were also admitted by the judge as exhibits. And still talking about conviction, a former deputy comptroller in charge of Ogwashi Uku prison in Delta State, DCP Deite Ure Wisdom, and a senior inspector of prison, Ayamede Peter, was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for stealing over 27,000 liters of automotive gas oil stored in exhibit trucks. Justice C.O. Ogisi of the Delta State High Court in Sapele convicted and sentenced them after they were prosecuted on a 4-count charge by the EFCC on the strength of evidence that the duo conspired to sell the products in 3 exhibit trucks. The petitioner had alleged that after the sale of the products, the drums and the tankers were refilled with water on the directives of DCP Deity. The judge found them guilty and sentenced them accordingly. In a related development, Justice Lateef Lawal Akapo of a Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja also convicted and sentenced the former court registrar Rosolu Idowu Oluronke to 10 years imprisonment. Oluronke, a former registrar to Justice Joseph Oyewole, was prosecuted on a 2-count charge of conspiracy and obtaining money under false pretense, preferred against her by the EFCC. She was initially charged alongside a Lagos socialite, Fred Ajudua, before Justice Oluwatoyin Ipaye for defrauding the former Chief of Army Staff, General Ishai Bamayi retired, the sum of over $8 million United States dollars, while he was being detained in Kirikiri Maximum Prison over his trial for the attempted murder of late publisher of Guardian newspapers, Alex Ibru. Specifically, Oluronke aided Ajudua to defraud Bamayi of the said sum under the false pretense that it was a part payment for the professional fees purportedly charged by Chief Afe Babalola SAN to handle his case, while both of them were being remanded at Kirikiri Maximum Prison between November 2004 and June 2005. However, Oluronke opted for a separate trial and was arraigned before Justice Lawal Akapo on April 20, 2015. Delivering his judgment, Justice Lawal Akapo held that some incriminating documents linking her with Ajudua were found in Oluronke's house when a house search was conducted there, and there was no doubt that there was conspiracy between her and Ajudua in the matter. Agbodobri was convicted and sentenced without an option of fine. The convict was charged by the EFCC for internet scam, having been caught in possession of a laptop containing scam emails. One Felix Maduegbuna and Stephen Fakroga, who were former chairman and secretary respectively of One Ogba Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited in Boko, Benue State, were also found guilty of a 2-count charge bordering on conspiracy and criminal breach of trust. The Ministry of Mines and Steel Development was said to have awarded the above cooperative society the sum of over 4 million naira for the procurement of specified equipment. The duo, however, breached the agreement and diverted the money. Justice Ademola Adeniyi of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Apo Abuja, found the accused guilty of the charge brought against them and sentenced them to 3 months imprisonment each on count 1, with an option of fine in the sum of 1,250,000 naira. He also found them guilty of count 2 and sentenced them to 2 years imprisonment with an option of fine in the sum of 1,250,000 naira. The sentences are to run consecutively. And in Asaba, Delta State, Justice Oho of Delta State High Court, Warri, Delta State, on Wednesday, December 10, 2015, convicted and sentenced Pastor Glory Okiegene, Abre Fera, and Reverend Vincent Okpogu to 7 years imprisonment each for stealing depositors' funds amounting to 32 million naira. The 2 clergymen were nabbed after deceiving unsuspecting members of the public into investing in Mustard Seed Micro-Investment Limited, a wonder bank, and defrauded them of their hard-earned money. While delivering judgment, Justice Ohuo convicted the accused persons on all of the 9-count charges preferred against them by the EFCC. They were sentenced to 7 years imprisonment on each count. The sentence is to run concurrently. According to the judge, the convicts will serve the 7-year term at Okere prisons in Warri, Delta State, after completing the 10-year sentence they are currently serving for illegal banking. It would be recalled that Abrefera and Opogu were on January 7, 2013, convicted and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment by Justice I.N. Buba of the Federal High Court Asaba on a 4-count charge for operating a wonder bank called Mustard Seed Microinvestment Limited. A Nigerian fugitive, Abdul Adewale Kekereekun, who was arrested on February 12, 2015 by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for identity theft-related offenses, has been sentenced to life imprisonment in the United Kingdom for the murder of 18-year-old Marcus Hall in 2001 following a brawl outside Luton's Atmosphere nightclub where the popular music group So Solid Crew had performed. Though 39-year-old Kekereekun, who goes by several aliases like Adebayo Dalvin James Ekun, Adebayo Kekere Ekun, Adebayo Mutalito Kekere Ekun, James Dalvin, James Adebayo, had initially pleaded guilty to the murder charge before the Luton Crown Court. He later fled to Nigeria. He was, however, arrested in Nigeria in February by the EFCC. During investigations, it was revealed that Kekere Ekun, who was arrested for fraud, was on the wanted list of the United Kingdom Police. Consequently, an extradition notice signed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, was served on him by the EFCC. He was finally extradited back to the United Kingdom, where he reportedly admitted to the killing. Before his conviction, 7 of the gang members had been convicted in 2002 and 2003 for their part in Hall's murder, but 2 convictions were later quashed. Away from convictions, Isufu Burema, President, High Authority for the Fight Against Corruption and Similar Crimes, Republic of Niger, and other members of his team were at the EFCC in furtherance of the Memorandum of Understanding signed by both agencies in 2012. The group were at the Commission to seek support of the EFCC in training their staff and also to host the first Nasiwa Academy training at the EFCC Academy, Karu, Abuja. The program, which featured anti-corruption agencies within the West African sub-region, marks a turning point in the leading role the EFCC has been playing in the fight against corruption, not only locally but internationally. President of Nasiwa, Isufu Burema, while expressing gratitude to the EFCC for playing a pivotal role in the establishment of Nasiwa and for hosting the training which had participants from Republic of Benin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea, Mali, Republic of Niger, Senegal, Togo, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Nigeria, stressed the need for anti-graft agencies in the sub-region to unite in fighting corruption. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) also hosted some cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy (NDA). The cadets, who were on a learning visit, said they were on the visit to tap into the huge resources of the Commission. Abraham Evwigpefe of the Computer Science Department, who led the cadets to the Commission on behalf of the NDA Commandant, said they were in the EFCC to learn how it has applied modern technology in the fight against economic and financial crimes. He said the exercise would make the cadets better equipped as military officers upon completion of their cadet training. And as a way of commending the work of the EFCC, Controller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali, retired, has described the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) as a pivot on which the fight against corruption in Nigeria rests. The retired army officer said this when he paid a courtesy call on the acting chairman of the EFCC at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. He said the visit was primarily to pay respect to the Commission and commend it for all that it had been doing to rid the country of corruption. The customs boss, who was on his first visit to the EFCC since he assumed office, said that the leadership of the service has also realized that having a mutual relationship with the Commission was a necessity. He further explained that the visit was aimed at underscoring the synergy that had been in existence between the two bodies, while also seeking a way to strengthening the relationship. In the course of the year 2015, we also brought you a report on the first oversight visit by the Senate Committee on Financial Crimes and Anti-Corruption, led by the committee chairman, Senator Chukwuka Utazi, to the EFCC. Ibrahim Magu, acting chairman EFCC, during the visit, called on the National Assembly to enact a law to fix a time frame for dispensation of corruption cases. He said, without an enabling law to fast-track corruption cases in court, accused persons will always escape justice. According to Magu, EFCC had made some impact, but has not yet attained the targeted level. He urged the committee to assist in fast-tracking the Commission's cases in court. The anti-graft czar also sought the support of the Senate committee to make the anti-graft war successful, saying the EFCC needs the support of the committee to achieve the mandate given to it to help rescue Nigeria from the shackles of corruption. High point of the event was the presentation of the Commission's plaque to the committee, after which Magu decorated Senator Utazi with the Commission's branded lapel. Thereafter, the EFCC boss, accompanied by his management team, led the committee members on a visit to the ongoing project at the permanent site of the Commission's head office along Airport Road, Abuja, where his guests expressed delight over the quality and level of work done at the site. Senator Utazi, upon the completion of inspection, said the committee is impressed with the work done so far. Other members of the committee during the visit include Senators Musa Ahmed, Matthew Orongide, Sani Mustafa Muhammad, and Sani Abdullahi. And as part of activities to mark the 2015 International Anti-Corruption Day celebration, staff of Nigeria's leading anti-corruption agency, the EFCC, staged an anti-corruption procession from its office in Wuse 2 to the Shehu Yar'Adua Center, Abuja, venue of the National Anti-Corruption Day celebration. The anti-corruption procession was led by the acting chairman of the agency, Ibrahim Magu. Magu, who took over from Ibrahim Lamorde on November 11, 2015, called for the destruction of corruption chain. He said the work is to symbolize the EFCC's resolve to tackle the corruption scourge head-on. The theme of the 2015 International Anti-Corruption Day, Break the Corruption Chain, is intended to call global attention to the effects of corruption on all sectors of our national life.
Thank you once again, Camilo. A very interesting review, I must say. The year 2015 was filled with so many activities, and we thank you for being part of it. We thank you for the support, and we will continue to count on your support on the program. Please don't forget to send your feedback to us via the Eagle at efccnigeria.org. You can also like our page on facebook.com/official EFCC. And to watch our programs and other activities, just log on to youtube.com/official EFCC. On behalf of the entire Eagle crew, my name is Aisha Gamperi, wishing you a happy new year and a prosperous 2016. Please stay away from all forms of economic and financial crimes for the betterment of our country, Nigeria. Thank you for watching, and God bless Nigeria.